definitely not MS Paint.
No, it's so cool.
It's in
No,
Photoshop.
so-
I swear it is. But
likely story.
So, hello everyone. I hope everyone has had an amazing weekend. I know for the Novice League, our weeks end on Wednesday, except for me as a caster, producer, broadcaster, all that stuff. I work every day. But for you guys, how has your week been for all of you?
Pretty good so far. I'm pretty busy throughout the week, so.
Yeah, I mean, mine was great. I was on vacation all week, so I was
True.
as everybody knows.
Villain
and
had a
everybody
better week
complained
than me,
about.
for a fact.
Villain had a great week, except for the part where he watched his team throw a game. So it's fine.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You were watching,
be
huh?
me.
I saw you
Oh,
in
of course.
chat for a
Yeah,
little
I was in
bit.
chat.
Yeah.
That was rough, but is what it is, and we'll get it back. What about you,
How was your week,
How was your
Rainbows?
Yeah.
Well, with me being in the army, they don't really care about the COVID thing, so we've been working pretty much nonstop through it. And this week we finally got quarantined because like 15 of our coworkers got officially diagnosed with COVID. So like
No
our
way.
equipment and everything got shut down. So I'm on quarantine for the next 2 weeks. So yeah.
Oh, so you get some free time.
How does the quarantine work in the army for the next 2 weeks? Like, who delivers you the food, the entertainment, the
Well, the entertainment is my left hand for the next 2 weeks, so that
No, don't say that. Gosh damn it. Okay, go on.
No. So entertainment-wise, like I have my computers, I have my iPad, like there's Netflix, there's video games, stuff like that I'll be able to play. For food, we have designated people that are going to be doing like Walmart runs and shit like that. But I'm pretty much just confined in my 4x8 room for the next 2 weeks, so that'll be fun.
At least it's soundproof, right? I can see it's like brick.
I hope so with what he's doing.
Not soundproof at all. I can hear everything that
Really?
my roommate does.
Then that means when they installed those bricks, they didn't really fill in the holes in between.
No,
No,
not
okay.
at all.
Bleh.
That sucks.
Yeah.
But you got your own
But-
room. Is that the quarantine room, or is that where you're? That's the
No,
whole
this is
thing?
like, this is like my official room that I've been in since 3 years now, roughly.
And how long have you been serving right now?
I've been in for 4 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Is that the
got-
Copenhagen Sirens T-shirt I see?
talking about
It
me?
looks a lot like the Sirens T-shirt.
Yeah,
does.
it looks like the Sirens T-shirt.
Nah,
What is that?
It's a frisbee T-shirt. It's just a
Oh, never mind. It's way better
Yeah,
than
Okay,
Copenhagen
that
Sirens.
Wait, that actually looks sick.
Yeah, looks better than
Whoa.
Copen's
Rainbow's coming in
logo.
with the suave attire over here.
I know.
I've just got
got a loose
I just got the
t-shirt.
depression jersey over here. Like,
just wait until you see me flex.
What is your jersey, Villianinglasses? What is that?
this is just a CLG red,
Oh,
white, and
that-
blue one.
No way.
CLG
Yeah.
sucks.
How'd
Yeah,
you
no,
get the
depression
colors
similar.
on that like that? What is?
I bought it. No, this is from the 2016 MSI CLG.
Invitational. Oh,
Yeah, they re-released them back in like 2017 or 2018. I picked it up then.
Cause that looks pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's jersey's sick. I love it. Even though the team is not, but
Garbage.
that's just how it is.
Come on, take that back, man. They're pros. They're pros. They're always
pros.
good.
They're kind of
Gross.
trash. They're kind of
Yeah.
just like Poblo over here.
Hey.
So.
Hey, wait a minute. Is Poblo? I don't think you're one of the starters, right? You've been playing in play.
So
That's not funny. Why are you laughing?
So there's a story behind that. So
Okay.
I just recently started up doing some school. I've been really busy lately. I am technically the starter for Solar Phoenix, but because for PRL their games start earlier, Rainbows just put Kiri in as a starter. So in case I couldn't tell the teams that I wasn't playing, they just assume Kiri.
Okay.
It's really just for like the 7 to 8 games I can't make, but like I
For
play for the
playoffs,
9 and 10
it'll be
ones.
mostly Poblo from what we know.
Yeah.
Depending on the schedules, of course, but
Being a student and being competitive is really hard. I mean, we
Oh, yeah.
had a couple of teams that were coming in from colleges and college stations, and they're in development though. They're like in major development. It's a lot easier, I would say, to kind of develop in a nomad's land, which is basically no college behind it and no other, whatever, huge investment behind it, but more like an actual friends kind of team. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And for the college teams out there, like they got so many things they got to handle. And yeah, even as a student like yourself, like it sucks, but sooner or later you won't be a student. You'll be graduated. You'll have a great job, and then I'll be living in your basement because you can afford me in there. But
Yeah,
what
yeah.
what are you
We
studying
got-
for?
I'm studying for nursing.
Same here.
Oh,
So it's
How-
Dylan. We're nursing buddies.
how is
Nursing buddy,
that? How is that
nursing
going
hotline.
with the COVID thing that's going on right now?
Yeah, so
Cl-
a
My
lot of
clinicals
the
actually got canceled in the spring semester. Like last semester, I actually couldn't go to my clinical sites. I had to do different paperwork assignments. But I think they're letting us back into clinicals in the fall. I know you're in clinicals now, right? Bo?
yeah, I'm in right now, but they might cancel mine in the spring.
Damn.
Next spring.
We still just don't know yet, so
Yeah.
it's rough.
And there was like some news or articles where they're actually like pushing those in medical school to become like doctors, right? Like they literally will just get them out from the school and then put them on the field where they really need them. I'm not sure they done that here in America. It's
I mean, there is a rush, but it's not that simple because of board exams and things like that. So
Yeah. It's pretty complicated. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want
It's a lot of
untrained doctors out treating pandemics. I don't
that's a
know.
big thing too. Yeah.
That's not a decision for me to make either, so they could do that.
Listen, if you want to like remove my student loans, I'll do it. But like,
I'll take those.
yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
very costly.
us on Solar Phoenix are the boomer squad, so
We are. I'm the youngest on the team, and I'm 22.
Nice.
and I'm the second youngest at 24, so it's like we're just
Yeah.
a bunch of boomers
Oh,
out here
so
just trying to show these
fuck
kids
me,
that are
That-
pretty legends.
that is not
Alright.
boomer numbers, man.
That's
that-
getting boomer numbers for league, dude. You check
For
for the
league?
players in these leagues, they're like 19 to 16 on average.
They're like just graduating high school, and they're better than me. I'm like, shit.
Yeah, it's like, whew. Back in my day, people weren't this mechanically good at the game.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know.
Playing on Windows XP and like now they got like Windows 7, 10,
They got their
8.
supercomputers, 4-ping.
Better internet service. Every time someone picked up the phone, I was disconnected and then like lost LP.
See, I get it.
All right, so let's run a little quick recap of what we can remember. What happened in week 5? Is there
Yeah.
anything that's come up?
So me and Poblo spent last night, spent a couple hours looking through all the games on the streams and stuff. And I can't say there was a lot of good gameplay, but there was certainly a lot of entertainment out of it. However, the one big surprise for me was Team Cosmic looked super impressive to me last week. I don't know if that was just like them overperforming beyond expectations, but they took down 1 and 2 in their division. They were the cleanest looking team of anybody, and they closed out games very quickly. Like Team Cosmic looked really sound, and makes me really worried for teams like Pawn Sacrifice Black, who were like kind of fringe of making playoffs, for like actually getting to the playoffs.
Yeah, we looking through all of it, like we were more scared of some of the second seed teams than the first seeds. Like the first seed
Mhm.
teams this week didn't do that great, except for Iceborne, they did great. But like, yeah, like Unmuted, Cosmic, and like even there were points of brilliance in EQ Storm. Where it's just like, dang, I don't know if I'm more scared of the first seeds or the second seeds.
Mhm.
Actually, the game with EQ Storm and Team Cosmic was it was way more entertaining than watching them going against Copenhagen Sirens. Like these guys
Oh, yeah, for
just,
sure.
I don't know, like Team Cosmic to me as well. They're on a major uprise. They didn't play like this weeks before, and then they come in like all sweaty from the gym, and when you warm up sometimes, and like you're just like I don't even know. Like these guys just came out of the gym and they performed, and they didn't just win games. I mean, a lot of teams just win games, right? And then you look at it, and it's all like, how well did they execute? How well did they actually, display their talent? And Team Cosmic were the only freaking teams out there, like in the Lunar division. That makes me worried for Copenhagen Sirens and EQ Storm, but also ruins the run for Pawn Sacrifice Black. Because at this moment, Pawn Sacrifice, if they're looking for Team Cosmic to see as, oh, these guys have to start losing or start dropping games, it doesn't look like that. Not even close anymore. If anything,
and
Copenhagen Sirens are losing now.
And as a person who used to play in Pawn Sacrifice, like I know a lot of the players on that team and stuff, and it's very interesting to me to see them not perform as well as like our expectations of them would be. Like this is a team that like dominated a different league we played in. Obviously, some of the rosters are swapped around, and I think they're playing Shrimp in mid lane now, and Peanuts playing ADC. So I'm assuming that like one of their biggest weaknesses is now probably their bot lane, which used to be one of their best strengths, as well as like mids being different. So it's really crazy to see Pawn Sacrifice. Like when I look at PS Black as like a 4th seeded team in this like top 8 or top 6, it's like, okay, what the heck happened that these guys are dropping so far? Are the other teams just that good, or like I know they've had a lot of forfeits, but it's one of those things where it's like it's hard to tell. Like, is it them underperforming or is it other teams just being better than them? Right?
Yeah, I really think that the other league that Pawn Sacrifice was in wasn't as competitive as some of
That too.
the teams here in like Copenhagen, EQ Storm. We didn't really get to see a lot of, specifically EQ Storm because they kind of just mental boomed.
Yeah, there
in
was
the
a
other
whole
league.
issue with them in the other league, but
Yeah, and now that we actually get to see Pawn Sacrifice against other teams that we don't know of, that we haven't really studied, that we don't like know how they play, it's a real eye opener to see how good one team can be in a different league, and then how good or how bad or how mediocre a team could be in another league.
Oh man, I do have another story here where I actually have 2 star players, but it's more like a one at the moment here. One of the star players I want to talk about was Towel Dog. Like he is
that dude's
nominated.
nuts.
He's nominated. Like
That dude is
guarantee you.
nuts.
On my video segment, I hope I can do it right and give him a proper star player of the week and go back to even some of his earliest, weeks playing in, PRL, which is insane. Like, I mean, Lord Vlad is also another nominee, but I think it's just more impactful for a jungler right now,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
Pablo, what are your thoughts on Towel Dog? I know you have
Dog
a
is
couple
the
things you think
best
about him.
player in the entire league. Like, there's no doubt about it. The dude is actually just like, there's a cut above the rest, and then he's a cut above them. Like, actually,
Yeah.
like, I'm not trying to like suck him off or anything. He's
no,
just
yeah.
so good.
He's nuts.
It is like watching Iceborne Winners. I'm just watching Tau Dog to see what he does because he just takes the game in his hands and just completely destroys any team he plays against. Like Iceborne Winter also has like really good like solo laners. I think their support's really good. Godly's good. I also love his energy. But like Tau Dog just literally just, you don't need to worry if Tau Dog's on your team because he just carries the
He
entire
draws
game.
5 bans, still gets a pick that pressures early, and
Yeah.
still like out jungles your jungler. It's like
I want
actually
to talk
insane.
about it.
Like
Yeah.
I'm just sad I didn't get a chance to play against their bot lane last week or 2 weeks ago, I guess now.
Yeah, the Tall Dog is just like Pablo said, you can ban his most played early game being Graves, Lee Sin, Olaf, and then he pulls out like a Zac and still goes like 8-1 on it and just dominates the whole game. And not to mention, the lanes are just so far ahead. Or if they're not ahead, they have at least an even state and a losing matchup that like the teams that face them, it's like unwinnable at that point because you have a jungler that is so far ahead and putting your jungler behind. And then you have their side lanes, whether that be Ivion Godly or their top laner just destroying their matchup. And then you get to like 15 minutes and you're like, oh, wait, we're down 8K gold and 3 dragons. Oh, that's a lot of fun. Okay, cool.
And then
Good player.
one of the dark horses too in this one is Interstellar. Interstellar's looking a bit shaky, and I'm not sure they will actually fit in where TBD Esports, the Unmuted, and Killshot Gaming is, because right now even the Unmuted did incredibly well. Not better than Team Cosmic. They did all right. They did well, and it was really impressive. The revamped Dynamatics Evolution, also known as Anarchy. I think I haven't even changed them yet, but I am gonna get the final confirmation for their official team name and logo. But yeah, the Unmuted. I mean, definitely Solar Division. They have their 2 spots locked in. Eclipse definitely their first spot locked in, and Lunar Division is really where it's at because there's one team that we all still continue to look at and we all have high hopes for them. You guys said just now How well do they do in other leagues that you said that in other competitions?
So like Pawn Sacrifice, they only lost one game in
Yeah.
the other server, which was Duo Esports, and they lost to us actually in a very close game that was entertaining on both sides, especially for
Not
the
me
viewers.
technically, but yeah.
Oh, I mean, yeah,
Phil was
you're
with us at the time.
yeah. But like their roster in Duo was a lot different and a lot more
Mhm.
stacked than what they have now. A few notable members that are missing is you guys probably won't know him, but Amazing Time in the top lane. He was a very good player for them that they relied on a lot. And then they're missing Totemax 9, or better known as TK. And like those two players are a very big addition to any team. And then when you get not necessarily get rid of them, but when they like leave for whatever reason, that's a very hard hit to a team that relied on them a lot throughout the entire season.
Yeah, like TK Totemax was basically the towel dog of Duo Esports.
Yep.
For the easiest way to put it, like the dude was just like that cut above every other player. And without him, like Shrimp was again like one of the best ADCs too. And so now he's in mid, not playing his normal role. You have Peanut, who was a serviceable mid, but probably not one of the top half in that league. And then you have Tate Noyusha coming back in, who used to be the starting top laner for that team, but then stopped playing League for a while to go play Valorant. So, I mean, a lot of things change and a lot of turnover happens in between leagues. So we'll see if they can like make a push at the end here. But with that 2-game gap that Cosmic created for themselves this week, it's very hard to see anybody but them securing at least like a top 3 spot in that division.
Yeah, just to add on, like I think Sheer really needs just like solid solo laners, because the dude can get his lanes ahead. He is like I don't want to say Tau Dog level, but he is a really good jungler.
He has potential to be really good.
Like on certain champions, he can just like completely snowball a lane if he chooses to. And like people like Omari, like playing like consistent supports, like they just need to find those solo laners leads so that they can like transition that into wins. They did it with Tate one game, I think on Darius. He like literally took over the entire game.
Oh yeah.
But that is Darius.
Yeah, but like they need to maybe expand their champion pools or expand their impact on more champions than just like certain ones, right?
They do. So let's go ahead and bring that all down to specifics, starting with the solo division. So once again, solo division, it's a little bit awkward. I mean, I see a decline in performance from TBD, a decline in performance in Killshot Gaming. Hyper Elite is very, very. It's coin flip. It's so coin flip. They're like 5-5 right now. And Interstellar. I mean, that's a team that I think some people want to grow and to rise up to, but they had way too many close games with coin flip games to where I think that they probably don't have a solid, you know, game plan for them. And I think it's very important for some teams to have a pretty solid game plan for themselves, but mainly at least the game plan to just make a great combination with their drafts too.
Yeah, I mean, like we saw, like Unmuted versus TBD was obviously like the biggest game of the week because that's like your 1 and 2 matchup. Like only 1 loss versus, or only 2 losses versus no losses, and like TBD lost their first game to Unmuted, and that was really a game of just like the Mord into Ornn matchup just went so heavily in favor of Unmuted that the game was basically over at 10 minutes when Mordekaiser was just 4-0 and just absolutely dumpstering the top lane matchup. However, I do like have concerns about Unmuted being like that top team in that division, just because it looked like they had struggles closing out the game when they were that far ahead. Like at some point, you just have to set up your side laner to win the game for you. Like no one can match a Mordekaiser who's 6-0 with 3 items at 20 minutes. So why is he not on his own, just like 1v3ing under towers and just pushing for your team, like drawing pressure away? Like they had a really large gold advantage and actually did win, but the game stalled out quite a bit, which credit to TBD for stalling the game out and making it competitive. But with that kind of an advantage, you got to close out those games quickly, or else things can start to flip the other way, especially when you have like an Ornn Ezreal Syndra comp that can really heavily scale.
Yeah. The biggest problem that that Unmuted needs to do is to close out those games and to know like how to close it out. I don't know if I haven't watched, again, we're subjected to recency bias because we've only watched the games from this week, but like if their top lane is consistently getting ahead, they need to throw him in that side lane. If he's not a champion that like can team fight as well as like Mordekaiser can get in there, but like if your Mordekaiser 7-1, why is he not like in a side lane 1v9ing? Because like he could force anything into a 1v1 and then probably kill everyone in the same time, right? I think Unmuted had a really good strategy of we're gonna shove it down their throats because we know that they outscale us if we really let the game go on. They did a really good job at doing that, but it was like from 26 minutes to like 31, they did not know what to do. They were just waiting for objectives, and I think was that the game that they brought it down to like a Elder Smite fight for some reason?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if I'm that ahead, I don't think that that's necessary to win your games. Like just contest vision better, have someone sitting bouncing that side of the Elder, secure the Elder, or just end the game before, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, taking down a top team like that, like solid.
And I love that you bring that up, Poblo, because honestly, when I see teams that are so up ahead, but yet they have to wait for Baron to be able to push, it's concerning. Yes, you're gonna win the game no matter what, and the Baron's gonna secure the win, but they didn't need it. You know, they could have done so many other things, but instead wait, an extra 5 minutes of the game for an objective as big as that, where once again they just could have just macroed the wave or have better wave management.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams, not just in Solar, but like in PRL, in our kind of rank elo, so to speak, they kind of rely on those big objectives, like you said, Baron and Elder, to kind of close out games. But if you're fucking unmuted, like with how far ahead your Mordekaiser was and how well the rest of the team was able to kind of shove it down their throats, like Pablo said, there comes a time where someone, whether that be the top laner or whether it be the support or whoever's doing the shot calling, needs to just say, hey, they don't have anyone that can match the Mordekaiser by themselves, so they'd at least have to send two. And if you send two, like that should be a free objective, whether that's fighting over a blue buff, whether that's fighting over a turret on the opposite side. That teams just need to realize that how far ahead a person is indicative of how well you should be playing the game with macro level stuff.
And even then, like with Mordekaiser especially, like he's a champ that says, okay, you sent two people, now it's a 1v1. I press the R key. What are you gonna do? And again, when you're that far ahead, you can kill anybody. Like very simply. But yeah.
But you can see it though, because they push awkwardly. Everyone pushes awkwardly, right?
Yeah.
You don't try to match
easy.
your side lane. You don't try to push to match your side lane. You push because we're just gonna get this farm and
Pushing
then
for the sake of pushing, yeah.
yeah, like match your side laner. If you match, then everyone's pushing exactly at the same time and putting up the pressure. So
Yeah, and if your Mordekaiser's like in a side lane, like you have the Galio the Galio can just hover mid bot if you're pushing through bot, right? And then any fight that like is more than Mordekaiser handles, you have the Galio coming in. You have like a team that can quickly get there to help you out. So it doesn't make sense why they were just 5-manning mid against Ezreal, Syndra, Ornn. Like they're just gonna clear the wave, and Karma. Like they're just gonna clear the wave. I just think it was like maybe they just didn't know what to do. Jitters from like beating a top team, which is, I mean, good for them for beating them, and it's totally reasonable since they were undefeated. TBD was undefeated, but like in like future games against them, like TBD will find those ways to get back into the game if you let them, especially with their comp.
Yeah, I think if they didn't have Lee Sin, it makes them a much better chance of like turning some of these fights. Of like, imagine if you had like a jungler with CC that could make picks like Sejuani, things like that, to try to catch out a person when they're misrotating on these 5-mans, But I mean, I don't want to sit too much on just this match because obviously, like, Unmuted did beat TBD and are being like, hey, we're pretty good too, and we have a shot at the first seed, which is nice to see at this point in the season where like you have a lot of like, well, maybe TBD isn't as good as we thought kind of talk coming through,
and that they're clearly beatable.
Yep.
Yeah, their performance, TBD's performance was really just, a bigger question is this really their top team for Solar Division? Because it just didn't look like it. I mean, right now I feel more like TBD is maybe second because I felt Killshot Gaming was going to be second or first. But Killshot Gaming right now, they still have the consistency of the mid laner, which is Kiba Boy being great and always being extraordinary. And everyone else right now, they did fix up their drafts a little bit. Or maybe a lot. I could be wrong. Maybe it is a lot because they're not losing sides or anything like that. But I feel like their communication is once again just lacking. Like it's so weird. Like I honestly remember 2 weeks ago in week number 3, the best games ever for Killshot Gaming was there, and I don't know. They gotta rewatch those moments. It really was something, and this
Yeah,
one right now, yeah.
this is a big week for Killshot because this could have gone really disastrously or really well, and it kind of just ended up somewhere in the middle because they played BDE, who is a very low-rated team, and they did win that game. But for the first 15 minutes, you're wondering how the heck do they win this game? Because bot lane's getting smashed. Your 2-0 Fiora got shut down and is now 2-2, and it's like you have a comp that has Fiora, Set, Azir, and Cassio, and basically if the other team can get ahead early, what do you do? Like Cassio needs time to scale, and she was super far behind. Azir needs time to scale, and he was just kind of AFK farming in mid, which I guess good for Kiba Boy, but kind of bad on the Syndra player and like the Olaf for not pressuring that lane more.
Yep.
But like, I mean, it looked like a game where like BDE had a chance at it because Darius' Thresh was just popping off and hitting every hook in bot lane, and then at like 20 something minutes, they just completely threw the game and took like a 4v5 out of nowhere with Baron and just gave away the entire game. So it's like you just gave Killshot the ability to scale. Which again, mistakes happen, and that's why BD is a lower rated team, I'm guessing. But
Yeah.
it wasn't really like a dominant win from Killshot that you'd want to see for a team that's like fighting for a top 2 spot, a top 3 spot in this division. And then they faced Unmuted and kind of just fell flat. Like they had a good start again, and then eventually Vlad Talon just kind of took over the game, and Tristana didn't have any fun despite being giga fed early.
Yeah.
Yeah, BDE, like if you're running Syndra into Azir, like you need to be winning that matchup hard or at least calling for help. Like the Azir that game was able to push out his wave. He was roaming better. He was getting solo kills on Syndra, and surviving. Wasn't even just 1-for-1. It was 1-0. And yeah, Kiba really showed like his Azir is pretty nice. He was shuffling.
Oh, it was moving. It was moving.
He was shuffling pretty hard. But from BDE, Durst is a really nice thresh. It was really impressive watching that. I'm not sure what's the jungler for BDE again.
Mercy.
Yeah, Mercy needs to be pressuring his winning lanes better. I definitely think if he focuses more around the mid lane. I know Azir has like gap closes or escapes pretty well, but like if you could just set it up with the Syndra E, like there shouldn't be any reason why that Azir is able to just free TP to like side lanes and free roam into like the jungle.
Yeah, that's like the biggest harping point I would say to a lot of teams. Like, and this goes for like anybody in the league. Like, just because they picked Ezreal or Azir or mobility doesn't mean you can't gank them and pressure them. Like, you can still focus the supports down. You can focus the ADCs down. You just have to make it an educated play or a smart dive. Which is why, like, again, I'm skipping ahead again, but like Cosmic being able to dive turrets, like, who actually successfully dives turrets in Plat? It's so nice to see. Like, I want to see more teams being this proactive and just like hard pressuring lanes like this. Because you can just force dives, especially with champions like Volibear, champions like Olaf, who need these early game advantages, or even Nidalee. Like, you can just focus dives and just hard pressure lanes. And we see a lot of Olaf players in this league.
And a lot of Volibears.
Yeah,
a lot of others. Yeah,
balanced champion. Thank you, Riot. Very balanced. ADC main loves it. It's really fun.
very fun. Yeah.
But yeah, I think Killshot is an interesting team. And definitely, like you mentioned, someone to watch. But I think they blew a really good shot at like hitting top 2 by falling to Unmuted this week. And Unmuted is a really good solo lane focused team. Like their solo lanes are actually really strong. I think is it Vincent is their mid laner?
Yeah,
Vincent,
Vincent.
like, he seemed like he really mid diffed people on Galio and on Talon, which is weird because these are kind of unique picks. And then, like you mentioned, Vlad got Vlad. So like, I mean, the guy who has Vlad in his name got Vlad. That's like giving the guy who has Nidalee in his name Nidalee. Who would do that? Like, come on.
Oh.
Whoa, hold on. We're not there yet.
We're not there yet. We're not there yet.
Hold
What do
on.
you mean? What do you mean? He got Nidalee twice this week.
He got Nidalee
Two
twice. Twice.
We're not there yet, though. Hold on. We'll
Let's
get
see.
to
He
that
got
later.
Nidalee twice. They won both games, and one of the games he played mid, one he played jungle.
He even said in his interview too. He's all like, "Yeah, I can play mid, Nidalee mid, and jungle." And I think they might ban it now, and then they didn't. Oops.
Yeah.
But yeah, Killshot Gaming there. I mean, they definitely would have lost. BDE would have won both of their games if
Oh my god.
they're
BDE.
not known for throwing.
Oh my god. Those games are hard to watch. They were hard.
If they didn't throw, they would have won both
BDE
of
looks
them.
so good. They look so good for 15 minutes, and then the game just ends, and it's like, okay, what happens?
Yeah. Just overextensions, not knowing when. They got greedy for some Herald pushes that didn't have to happen. Fighting 4v5s when they know that they're not able to fight, getting caught out in side lanes. Like, yeah, BDC needs to work on their mid game to transition to better late games.
And even then, like BDE, if you're losing to them at this point and you get off of a free win because they threw the game, you still have problems, right? Like at the end of the day, you're like, okay, well, if they didn't throw, we would have just been dead. We would have been done. Would have lost that game, and then our playoffs run will be even in a way more horrible position there. So for the teams that lost to BDE in the early to mid, and only won because they threw, they still have a lot of things to work on for sure.
Yeah, because like if BDE wouldn't have taken that Baron fight, I don't see a way Killshot comes back to win that. Sorry.
Yeah.
And if we assume that, then we have what, 3 people, or yeah, I'm gonna say 3 people at that kind of third place spot, because you have Interstellar, Hyper, and then Killshot, and then like it's kind of a throw up between all 3 of them, because all 3 of them have good games and bad games. That like I just don't see how, if Killshot would have went 5-5, that they could make playoffs at that point, if at all.
Yeah, and one of the things I noticed too about a lot of these teams, like there's a lot of good, solid junglers on these games that are like giga being held back by their teams. Like there's a lot of really smart early game junglers who are just doing very good pathing and very good things, but just mid game macro decisions or just in general like team play just isn't there, and they just end up throwing games. And it's very sad to see, because like it's hard to find a good jungler. It's very hard to find a good jungler.
It is.
Yeah, very, very hard. And I want to kind of backpedal a little bit to what I think it was Poblo was saying earlier about the pressure of, oh no, it was Villain actually. Like even if a team, like you said, does pick an Ezreal or an Azir or even like a Fiora in the top lane, just exerting that pressure to that specific lane is really helpful, because that means, like, for instance, your bot lane could maybe farm a little bit more safer. If a Drake's coming up and you pressure them off, get a wave or 2 shoved in, like that really goes a long way to helping your team getting those early objectives. And especially in like BDE's case, getting those early objectives and then just kind of shadowing around and like making sure your presence is known, not just kind of AFKing in the jungle, so to speak. Not them doing that, but like teams in general. It could snowball a game so much more, because if you get a lucky gank off, and if you get maybe objective steal here and there, you could be at soul point or even have the soul, and then the game's kind of almost unwinnable at that point, depending on what soul you get.
So Solar Division, in general, I would say only one good team coming out of this one, which is the Unmuted. They are not the #1 team, so that means they're gonna give a pretty hard rundown for anyone that's coming, either second or third at the moment, especially third.
Before we move on, do you want to explain kind of what the playoff format is, so we can kind of talk about like who we're looking at to actually make playoffs? Because it's a little bit confusing for me. Of like
it's top
exactly
4.
Is it top 4 like overall teams, or like
top 4 overall teams? In fact, the Unmuted still has a chance to become the 4th #1 team. But right now, for what I'm looking at, I think Team Cosmic once again is just really out trumping a lot of people, or a lot of these #1, 2 seeds, and they just might earn a really weird spot that way, but only if they can beat EQ Storm. They've already beaten EQ Storm and Copenhagen Sirens, really dominant, but they got to beat them in standing now on record. And they could definitely go even on them and beat them on record. But yeah, so the format is top 4. Three #1 seeds will get, the 1 off week, and then there is a actual 4th wild card for for a off week too. And from that, we will choose the fastest game time between those. And then whoever gets that 4th, then that'll be your 4th team that has that 1 week off as well.
I know a team who's in second place that wins games pretty quickly, guys. I don't know about you, but
which one? Which one?
I don't know. It's a certain team in Eclipse Division that wins their games pretty damn quickly when they win games.
Is it you guys?
Yeah, we win pretty fast.
Yeah.
What was your shortest game?
23. We beat Lit Club in under 24 minutes last
23? Week. Don't say 23. We
had a game. we had a game go as fast as 19 minutes, I think it was.
In this league?
Yeah.
Might have been back when Toast was playing.
Maybe.
Either way,
Yeah.
I think we win games pretty quickly, so I think we have a good shot at that. If it's average game time. But that's getting sidetracked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Chat.
I'm about to show you guys that's what the format looks
Oh.
like. So
Huh.
so you have your 3 number 1 seeds, right? And then there's like a
Oh.
fourth because there's no
Oh, that's
fourth
actually
division.
nice.
Yeah, so there's no fourth division. That means there's no first seed. So we start looking at the second seeds and then choose our
Top of the seconds.
top of the seconds. And if Team Cosmic can get top of the seconds, that'd be really nice. But I think they probably have the worst average game time, to be honest. So
Yeah, they don't close out games too fast, despite kind of smashing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
We'll see if they can improve that. I mean, obviously, like their hardest schedule's already done, so we're heading to the last couple weeks, and like they should have easier matches in theory to close
Team
out.
Cosmic?
But yeah, I mean they beat 1 and 2, so it can't get any harder from that.
Oh, that is true.
Like in theory, they should be winning games faster. but this is a plat league where anything can happen. So
And a
Yeah.
best of 1 format. In a best
Mhm.
of 1 format, yeah.
Yep.
To end my thoughts on the Solar Division, though, since you all are so curious, I do think Solar Division is probably like from this week looked the weakest out of all the divisions.
Yeah, which is funny because
definitely-
everyone was like, Twitch chat really likes Solar Division because they had an
Yeah.
undefeated team. They really
They-
like Solar Division.
I think
Yeah,
those teams need to prep a little more for the next games.
Yeah, I think like Pablo said, out of the 3 divisions, I think Lunar is the hardest because like Team Cosmic did really well, but then EQ and Copenhagen kind of been really strong the entire season, and then Eclipse we obviously have Iceborne, us, and then Glacier Rising, which are like the clear, or at least
Kind
in
of like
my
a
eyes,
definitive top 3, yeah.
yeah, and there's no really other competition. Whereas in like Solar, it's kind of the same thing, or it was before this week rather, where it was like TBD and then whoever was underneath them. But I think Lunar definitely has the most competitive.
Yeah, I mean, especially after this
division.
week.
Yeah, especially after this week. Yeah.
Yeah. I hope my Team Cosmic keeps winning. That team was fun to watch. They were
Oh,
fun to
very.
watch.
Very.
You could ask Poblo. I was popping off on the call. I'm like, how is this team 4-4? Like,
Yes,
I didn't-
exactly.
I really didn't understand how they were 4-4 watching their games this week. Because I'm like, this team is super coordinated. They're really proactive. Like,
Whoa, we're still in Solar. Stop.
okay.
Oh,
listen,
yeah.
We're
No,
moving
no.
to Lunar.
I think
Transition.
okay, wait. For Solar Division, let's give out our last things because I'm super excited to talk about Team Cosmic too and Lunar. So, last things about Solar Division. What can we say?
Watch out for Unmuted taking the 1 spot. I think TBD looks super vulnerable right now. We'll see if any other teams can actually beat them, or if it is just kind of like a top half the league diff. But I think if you're looking at star players from that league, I think Kiba Boy out of his ear, I'd like to see him on anything else. I think that KSG's bot lane kill shots looks solid, but has some question marks for me with the Casio. And I like the picks. There's a lot of unique picks in Solar. We saw Casio bot, we saw Talon, we saw Vlad, we saw Nico support. Like some Jax picked up, some Sion picked up. Like I like seeing unique picks, but I like seeing them do well, right? So we'll see if like the most standard picked game was the biggest smash for Unmuted with that Mord game. So maybe we tone it down on the unique picks just to win. Maybe we keep unique picks just to surprise. Who knows? But either way, it's kind of fun to watch, and we'll see if Solar can like really step up their play coming into the playoffs. At least that's my thoughts.
I'm gonna say sort of the same thing, but a lot of it differently is with Solar. I feel like a lot of or I'm gonna say specifically TBD kind of peaked early in the season, and you don't really want to peak early, especially when you have playoffs and you're kind of guaranteed that playoff spot. And like going to playoffs, TBD, Unmuted, and potentially Killshot. I want to see those 3 kind of pick it back up to make sure that when they do make it into playoffs, if they do, they have like a good team idea of what they want to play. They have a good team idea of how they want to play the game, and kind of ease out of that secure win by taking Baron and or Elder, because going back earlier, like if you're so far ahead that you have to wait for a guaranteed win with an objective, that doesn't mean you're a good team. That just means you're very hesitant on what you think you could do as a team.
I already said my thoughts. I just think that Unmuted looks like the only team that's like really prepping for their games, at least this week. I need to watch more TBD because that game did not scream 9-0 team before that game to me. They probably play really well, don't get me wrong, but yeah, Solar just looks like the weakest from this week.
All right, and my last thing is actually to Killshot Gaming because I think they're giving up a lot of the early game pressure, which is why they almost lost to BDE, Big Draft Energy. They got to go back
Great name.
into winning the early and mid game, and then letting Kiba continuously become consistent on late game scaling. Like he can
Mhm.
definitely still carry the team. But the team has to carry themselves through that beginning of that slow mud run first. But other
First
than
15's
then,
huge in every game.
it is right. It is late game champs or even later game, maybe next game champs.
Pro
All
tip:
right.
games are really easy to win in shot call when you're ahead. Really easy.
Very easy, yeah.
It's very formulaic.
Lunar Division. Now we can go all off on Team Cosmic. Starting with you again,
Yes.
Villain. Go for it. Go for it.
Hell yeah.
Cosmic
sit
is
back.
my team of the week, dude. Look, listen. Sure, you got like Iceburn Winter Q still dominating, whatever. They're probably gonna win Eclipse Division. Yeah, Solar Division. You got to fight for the top. But Cosmic came in here and is like 1 and 2 seeds. What is that? 4 and 4 record. Who cares? Like, dude, MVP of the week for me. Like for obviously not like Towel Dog from our division. Like looking at other divisions. Boomerang was just a monster on Volibear, and I think you have to ban that champion against this team. Also, be careful when you give Beckon a hook champion because it seemed like his Nautilus just was auto. Like it looked like a point and click in the game against EQ Storm. Like he had so many great hooks, so much high pressure in the lane. Like I loved watching this team when they were ahead, being proactive. But I want to see what happens in a game where it stalls out early, right? Where Boomerang doesn't get 3 kills in the first 10 minutes, where their bot lane isn't hitting every hook and getting advantages. Like in that second game, I really did like Copenhagen's comp until the Mundo was 0-6. Like it's
That was rough.
like it was rough. It was very rough to watch. And even then, like Cosmic still had moments where you're like, okay, I see why they're 4 and 4 now, right? Where they almost threw some of these games. And I think like Poblo mentioned, like he really liked EQ Storm's draft in the first game against Cosmic. Like the Shen, Echo, Victor, Kaisa Bard. Like that is such a hard to kill comp. But I mean, they found a way to just get really big advantages early. You pressure early in game. You don't let the Shen get out on the map. And a lot of times the Shen ult didn't even matter because they just had too much damage. So I think it was a great week for Cosmic. I'm excited to see if they can actually take Lunar Division. Obviously, they need some help still because those 4 losses aren't going anywhere. And we'll see if Copenhagen or EQ Storm keep dropping games.
Yeah. The EQ Storm and the game that they played, like the supports were just playing out of their minds. I thought Otto and Beckon were just playing to win the game while everyone else was like, except for Boomerang. But like watching the 2 supports go at it, like it was really, really good to watch. I definitely think that what Cosmic needs to work on is mid game. A lot of their mid game dragon objectives and stuff, and they kind of have this problem with vision again. I do want to see Beckon making those plays. I do want to see Boomerang finding those ganks and getting his soul lane ahead. I was even talking to Villain started the game with the Mundo matchup. That was Cosmic, right?
That was Cosmic Copenhagen.
Yeah.
Cosmic Copenhagen. I guess just skipping to that game, like the Cosmic Copenhagen one, I was like, I don't know how the Mundo and the Mord matchup works. And then he was 0-4, and I'm like, I know now how the Mundo
It
and the
sounds
Mord
good
matchup
until
works.
Volibear just lives in his head. Like you're like, oh right, great, we got the Mundo. He can build full magic resist into this Mordekaiser Zoe comp, and just they can't do anything. There's no damage, right? Misfortune can't kill Mundo unless he's 0-6. Like,
Yeah.
So like in theory, it's a great pick. And like the Kane scales and the Cassio scales, and you're like, oh, look at all the scaling. How are you going to kill Mundo? Cassio's going to be tanky. Like, this is such a good comp. And then like Boomerang's just like, haha, Volibear, go charge. And then
Volibear, go charge, Mordekaiser, press Q.
again, it was another game just like the first game from TBD versus Unmuted from the other division. Is just like Mordekaiser just got ahead, and when Mordekaiser gets ahead, he's a very scary champion.
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of echo the same thing. Like, when I watched those games from start to finish, I was thoroughly impressed with how good Cosmic was playing the game and how good their rotations were and their overall macro. There were obviously a couple big points in both games that were potentially a big throw, like Baron steals, and luckily they got the Elder's steal, I think it was, or at least the Elder fight.
Boomerang stole the Elder when the
Yeah.
Baron was stolen
Elder,
from
and then
them.
didn't like the Karma steal the Baron, or was that a different
Oh,
series?
That's
That
the
was a
same
different game.
division. But
God,
that's
that
the
was
same division. The whole Lunar
game.
division was a bunch of steals that day.
Yeah, they were stealing left and right. Someone needs to call
I
the
haven't
cops
seen
on
Smite stat bad since Chong missed 3 in that one game.
Yikes.
Yay.
Hold on. Okay, sorry, Chong. I guess today's
I love
not
you,
Chong
I love you,
Appreciation
Chong. But
Day.
listen, you gotta hit your smites, please.
Yeah,
Um,
it was great watching that. If I could just interject for a second, that Elder Steal from Volleyball was amazing because his
Oh
Cinder
my
Hulk
God.
instantly killed 2 people. It was so great.
I think I paused and rewatched that clip 4 times because I was laughing so hard.
yeah, I find it funny that Voliver didn't even ult. He just ran into it, hid in the bush, stole it, and then
He just
ulted
walked
and
up and just
instantly
smacked.
killed 2 people.
That was one of my favorite things to watch.
Yeah, but like regarding the rest of the division, I know we kind of touched on Pawn Sacrifice Black, but like a lot of the other teams, Merc Squirt, I watched their game and they did relatively well. Aqua Phoenix did well in their second game against, I think it was Caustic, if I remember correctly, or one of the lower teams.
Yeah, that's what a lower was.
But like as a whole, that division I think is up to the top 5. I'm gonna say because Pawn Sacrifice and Aqua are tied. Like
Yeah, double forfeits really hurts PS. This
yeah,
week.
double forfeits and then not having your strongest roster really doesn't help a team. Regarding the top 3 spots, though, I'm going to focus on those. EQ Storm, I think, has the makings of a really good team. Like they're 7-3. They have a really solid ADC or bot lane in general with Otto and Jules.
Yeah, Jules is sick.
But I think the rest of their team just kind of needs to pick it up a little bit because, as we saw in the Cosmic game, like Jules wasn't slacking off. I mean, his Kai'Sa was dealing damage. He was trying to stay alive as much as possible, but the rest of the team just kind of fell apart around him. And for EQ Storm to secure a top spot, whether that be first or second, it needs to definitely be a team win rather than a bot lane win, so to speak.
Shout out to Merc Squirt though.
Yeah.
They all flashed over a dragon pit at the exact same time. Best thing I've ever seen.
Play of the week. Like,
ever.
go watch
Play
the
of
Sapphire
the week.
game. It's like Sapphire versus MK. And like Merc Squirt's fighting Sapphire, and there's this dragon fight for Soul, I think. It was like Cloud Soul or Ocean Soul or something.
It was Cloud, I think, yeah.
Merc Squirt literally like they get the dragon on the other side of the wall. Their Ornn is just like 1v3, and then 4 people just flash the wall to kill 3 people. And it was like that is the most coordinated play I've seen all day, and I love it. Like everybody just like
5 flashes up, and then by the end of Dragon, there were 0 flashes up.
Yep.
Oh my god,
amazing! It was amazing.
I was crying. It was wonderful. Like I said, it wasn't the best game to watch, but it was damn well entertaining.
Yeah, it was hilarious. That's for damn sure.
It's like, do we all have flash? We all got flash. All right, we're going in. Leroy Jenkins style.
Why does Ezreal ever have to flash?
Oh
He wouldn't
my
have been
God.
in sync, bro. That's why.
Yeah, you're right.
It's for the team.
Right. Okay, but talking about like the major games of the week too. I know we're talking a lot about Cosmic Copenhagen, but that was a really big game for Cosmic, and that like something I noticed about that game as well is like their soul lanes look solid, and every single fight I watched that game, I think Mordekaiser was literally on top of unknown KRC, the Ashe, literally every fight. Like I would just be watching a fight break out, and then I'm like, okay, and Ashe is dead, and there's Mordekaiser in the back line. How did he get there? I don't know, but he's there again, just killing the ADC. I feel bad for the guy because like I feel like unknown KRC played a good game, but he just had no help dealing with this Mordekaiser who just kept like, just you're mine, Death Realm. All right, I guess I'm dead because he's 5 kill Mordekaiser with 3 items. ADC diff, haha. Like I think
ADC
Pablo
in
said ADC
2020.
in 2020 at least 7 times during that game alone. Like,
Yeah.
it was so sad. And like, yeah,
Love the meme.
this is my life. This is my life.
Yeah, Lunar definitely had the biggest, most entertaining impact of Novice. I mean, it hit 78 viewers. I think. I think everyone was just watching, and it was just, I don't know,
That was a
amazing,
good game.
amazing performance all around. You know, it helps out when Stavino Karma steals Baron with Mantra Q.
Oh my
It helps
god!
out
I
when
thought they were
Boomerang
gonna lose.
steals Elder Dragon too. Like, oh my
Yeah.
god, I was
Yeah,
advertising it while casting it too.
that game had some top tier moments.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
it
the
was,
one thing that concerns me most about Cosmic was their ADC though. I think Zerial
Right.
looked kind of shaky in both games. He played I think Ezreal in the game against EQS
Yep.
and
And then
MF against
Misfortune.
Copenhagen, and he didn't really look too like strong to me. I feel like Beckon really carries him, or at least that's just what these games told me. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Again, like I'm not trying to throw too much shade because again I haven't laned against you, but it did look to me like that support gap was massive, and the ADC is kind of like serviceable, which isn't bad. Like he did his job. A lot of the MF ults were really good.
I got a Flame Aqua Sapphire too. Ash went Manamune into Bork against
Oh my
3
God.
tanks. Why don't you just go Bork first?
You know who that sounds like? That sounds like an Ales game right there, boys.
I don't.
Yeah, right.
And like the jungler from Sapphire was taking free kills from the
Oh.
Ash too. It's like, that was really hard to watch. It's
Yeah.
really hard to watch just like obvious things in our eyes from a spectator's point. I can understand like in the game it's like just kill him, but like there was one play where the Ash got a kill and then there was an easy double kill and they're all full health hitting down like a Lulu or something and then the Trundle just chomps them to kill him. Like why are you taking kills from your like 6 and
From the
2
one that
Ash at
has to
that
kill the
point?
tanks.
What? Who needs items to kill these tanks?
And your Vigar was like 1 in 5, so it's like no one else is going to be doing damage this game.
That was
That was a rough one to watch. That game. I think
Um,
MK actually won that game too, didn't they? That was the fight
Yeah.
for the wall game. So yeah.
yeah.
I really think if Ash would have got more ahead, I definitely think Sapphire wins that game. I don't see how like a 7-2 Ash or 8-2 at that point, if she would have gotten those kills, could be taken down as easily as some of those fights she did. I know like there was a lot of dive and a lot of pressure on her to perform, but like when she got her Q and Manamune and eventually Bork, like she was melting people. And just
Imagine if she had like Blade of the Ruin King and Renan's and Infinity Edge though in some of these fights instead of Manamune, and then
I do want to mention though that
really shred this edge. She rushed Warmogs.
Yeah, I want to mention that in the game, I did see a lot of Twitch chat saying like, she went Manamune Dork, Infinity Edge into Essence Reaver, and then the whole Twitch chat was just like, where the fuck is Runaan's? Because she had what Bork and attack speed boots, and
That's not enough.
yeah, that's not enough attack speed.
It doesn't feel good.
Tanks. So maybe just refine your build a little bit. But I think as a whole, like you did fine as an AD carry.
Yeah.
You try to survive and do damage, but it was unfortunate that you kind of kept getting kill stole.
Yeah, I think that Sapphire has some good moments, and I think they have a good shot at being that number 4 team in Lunar. But it's tough competition. Like if Pawn Sacrifice is actually playing their games, I think they're probably the lock for the 4th seed and probably one of the most dangerous low seeds in the bracket. I would say like they're pretty sleeper, but I mean, credit to Alpha, they're tied in division and they have probably a game coming up against them. So I mean, for a lot of these 5-5 teams that are like tied with like 4 other teams, like it's in your own hands. You win and you're in, right? Like you have to. You're playing the teams that you're competing with. You have to win these games. So I mean, give it your best. Like you guys have solid things to look at and refine some stuff. Look for some if you have to pull out the cheese, pull out the cheese. Look for invade paths. Look for unique picks, but just don't go crazy with it, right? Don't go pulling out like Quinn top just because you think it's good, right? Like,
oh my god,
do things you practice, do things you worked at, and don't be afraid to just go with comfort. Like, comfort's always the number one thing to go to when you need it.
I'm gonna give a quick shout out. I know we haven't talked that much about him, but do Pawn Sacrifice Black. Like Villain said, I don't think that roster is bad. I think they have very good playmakers. Like Poblo mentioned, Sheer and Amari that were phenomenal in duo and still continuing their streak here in Phoenix Rising. So if Pawn Sacrifice does play their games like Villain said, I don't see how they could drop to 5th or even get out of the playoffs in general. Like I said, I think they're a really strong team. They are very well synergized. They have great communication. And yeah, if Pawn Sacrifice doesn't forfeit, I think that's a pretty secured playoff spot for them in my eyes.
Yeah, I don't know how they're forfeiting with 36 players on their Battlefly roster, but yeah, that's just me.
Yeah, true.
I think it was 37 when I last checked.
Oh, sorry.
Kidding. I'm kidding.
No. See, but then I left the org, so I'm not on the roster anymore.
True. my bad.
True.
Mm-hmm.
Are we gonna see you play this week, by the way?
Yes, I will be alive and playing for the rest of the games for Solar Phoenix. I can
Awesome.
I can
Rest of the
guarantee that.
games.
No more subbing around 80 carries. No more Aries. It's all villain all the time now, and should be
Yeah,
some easy wins.
Don't ban Azezreal, please. He doesn't play anything else.
It's not true.
He doesn't play it. I've never seen him play it before.
I've never played Ezreal before. It's fact. Like I don't.
Yeah,
I
true.
don't believe it.
Yeah.
I play Varus. You see me play Varus, right? I play
Yeah,
Victor, right? Everyone
I've
remembers
seen
Victor,
you play
right?
Varus. Yeah,
Everyone remembers the Victor game. I'll put a bot lane.
Let's see.
Everyone remembers Victor.
So some of the top teams here for Lunar Division.
Mhm.
Not top teams, sorry. We already know who the top teams are. Top
Sorry,
players.
we know these players.
So let's start with the number one team that's here in Lunar for Copenhagen Sirens. Who would we think is like the top player for them?
They had a really bad game, so it was hard to see.
They had a really rough game. Cassie looks solid. The jungler looked pretty good early. The Kane. I didn't write down too
Kevo,
many names,
yeah.
but Kevin looked pretty solid. I mean, again, like we only have the sample size from that one game, so it's hard to say who exactly their top player is. The only thing I can say is like definitely not the top laner from this week. I don't know if he just had a really bad game, but that was a rough one to watch.
Mahar? Yeah.
Yeah, Mahar had a rough day.
So I'm actually gonna give it to their ADC. I know that he probably didn't have the best game against Cosmic.
That was an
but
unlucky game.
That was very unlucky, and I think in the other games that he played, especially in the interview that they did a while ago with you, Mighty,
Yeah.
they give a lot of credit to him, and I think if he gets the resources and the jungle pressure or attention rather, and if they are able to kind of withstand the early game against teams, I definitely think their ADC is, if not their best, definitely one of the best players on their team. I know Kevo, like he's been doing really well. The Kane pick was a little questionable in my eyes, but he still performed really well on it. He got a couple good key kills during fights and stuff. But I definitely think their ADC is really, really strong.
ADC is such a hard role to shine in right now too.
Jeez,
Like
ADC in 2020. That's all you
the
got to
meta's
say.
kind of rough for like hard carrying an ADCs just because you're looking at like a mobile 80 carries and two champions like Mordekaiser and Mord, and now Yone coming out. Like Lilia doesn't seem fun to play against as an ADC player. Like it's a rough market, dude. Why do you think everyone wants to play Ezreal? Because he's safe. Because he makes you feel safe and comfortable, and you can do stuff, and you don't have to rely on your support to sit on top of you, or else you go 0-6.
Yep.
Because Mordekaiser just is in your backline all the time.
And then for EQ Storm, some of the top players that we can remember off of this one.
Auto.
Easy. Auto and Jules.
Yeah, Auto and Jules. I don't see how any other players can even be considered for that.
They're probably the best bot lane in Lunar Division, just as a pair. They look really solid in lane, out of lane. Auto literally almost single-handedly carried that game against Cosmic with his Bard.
Yep.
And Jules was right behind him making plays. So I think that bot lane is really strong.
And then for Team Cosmic, Team Cosmic.
Beckon and Boomerang. Yeah. Really good player.
I'm actually also going to say top lane. I know that it was a small sample
Yeah,
size, but
Jamaican.
this Mordekaiser was popping.
He wasn't bad either.
popping off.
Like he got a solo kill on Chen early too.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
everyone memes R4 or R5 Mordekaiser, or R5 Renekton, but I mean he looks solid.
It worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's on my list as the number one top laner between all divisions.
I think he's a big X factor
Really?
for sure.
Yeah. I
really
could see it. I could see it.
But I mean, where fed top laner, it's got to come from somewhere, and I think like Boomerang was really the reason why he got ahead in a lot of these games.
Yep.
The first game, obviously, he just kind of like he just dumpstered the Shen, but that second game especially, like Mordekaiser was only fed because Boomerang was living inside of Mundo's head.
Yeah, especially that, like, I think it was level 2 dive that Boomer did to actually kill Mundo. I think that was really the one that kind of set the tone for the top lane in that matchup.
Yeah, I think Copenhagen went to the store after that game, and they saw Boomerang in aisle 7. Actually, I think he was just there. Like they got home and he was waiting in their garage. Like it was terrifying.
Rent free, boys.
Like, and then they went to run away, and then they got hit by a beck and hook out of the corner. Like it was a rough day, dude.
Okay.
But no.
Let's go ahead and last division to go over with before we come to our conclusions, which is Eclipse division.
Let's go.
How there's a clear view here. Okay, so
Yeah, what happened, guys?
if Iceborne winners queue win another 2 games, they are just secured. They're locked, right? They're the only team out of the other 2 divisions, Solar and Lunar, who can lock their division or number 1 spot for their division during this week.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened here? Solar Phoenix, I think you guys didn't win 1 game, right?
We've lost both of our games against 2 of our 3 losses are against them. Yeah. They're a good team. They're a good freaking team. I'd argue they're probably the best team in the entire league. And it mostly just comes down, like we said before, their jungler just completely takes the game in his hands. Doesn't matter what champion he's on, he just takes it and he just wins it.
And when everyone else is solid, like it's hard not to translate that to an early lead. And like we mentioned earlier, like League of Legends is really easy game to win when you're very far ahead. Yep. And that stems from a jungle game.
Especially right now.
Like especially in this meta right now where it's like early game junglers and early game matchups. Like if you have a good early game jungler who can pressure, get advantages, and like if you're setting up 3rd, 4th dragon, or if you're setting up Dragon's Soul point around 20 minutes every game, and you're in a lead, you're in a really good spot to just win that game at that dragon fight. And that's what we see a lot in pro play. It's what we see a lot in like amongst good plat teams is they're controlling dragons early, they're setting up for an early Dragon Soul, and then they're winning that fight and winning the game off of that because they get the soul, they get the Baron, and then they get the game. So Winners Q definitely probably the best team in Phoenix Rising League right now, I would say, just from like this obviously small sample size in other divisions of what we watched, but I think they're probably the overall number 1 team in the league and should probably end up getting slotted in at the number 1 seed for playoffs. And I think we're looking to definitely lock in that 4th spot as like the best of the 2nd place teams.
Yeah. So I'm not even trying to blame when I say this to any team, but if Iceborne didn't forfeit because of technicalities to that 1 game, I think they're the only undefeated team that Phoenix Rising has in this division or in this tournament. I don't see how their jungler specifically can get down. Like I said, you throw 4 or 5 bans at him, and he pulls out a Zac. He pulls out.
He plays tanks. He plays carries. He plays
Set, Graves, Olaf, Volibear.
Picks. Like it's tough.
Yeah, and even if he gets down, like you have Beyond Godly, you have Chancellor that just completely smurf on the enemy team. You hit endless hooks, and like I said earlier, before you know it, you got 15 minutes, you're down 8k gold, and they're at soul point. You're like, well, we just fucking forfeit at this point.
Yeah, I guess the game's over.
Yeah.
Yeah, easily the best team in like all of Novice League right now. That being said, like Glacial Rising's looking really good too. They took a game off of us pretty convincingly. They kind of just like they FF'd their last game against us. So I guess we have the 1-1. I don't know if that matters, but like they're looking really good later half of this split. I don't know if like all of their losses were FFs or if they were actually like losing games to teams, but I mean they still have to play a game against Iceborne, so I really want to see how that matchup is. I think that's in 2 weeks though. I don't think that's this coming Wednesday. Very excited to see who can win that, because I think if Glacial Rising actually can take a game off of Iceborne there, then 2nd place for Eclipse gets tricky.
It's a lot closer, yeah. It's still in our hands, but it gets a little bit.
I don't think we lose another game the rest of this split. Like we got the 2 hardest teams out of the way in our opinion. Like
who's left for us?
Other teams,
Lit Club of Ethereal, SV, and New Tragedy.
Yeah, and Ethereal's probably gonna FF.
Oh, it's actually bottom 4.
I think Ethereal completely expanded or something.
Yeah, Ethereal left. They gone.
Feels bad.
Unfortunately, like none of the other teams other than the top 3 in our division is like contesting anything. I like 4th place. Who knows? That could go to anyone at this point.
Lit Club looked good, and like a lot of people were really hyped on Lit Club, and I didn't really get why.
They have a good top laner. Lit Club has a really good top laner.
Yeah, I remember in the podcast before we played them, they said it was going to be bot diff, and I mean they were right, but it's
Not the diff they were hoping for, probably.
yeah, not quite the one they were hoping for. It was a little bit better than I thought. I mean, maybe that's the Kiri diff. Who knows? But like, I don't,
Yeah.
I think we're definitely a division that's similar to Solar, where it's like your top three is like very defined and very obvious, and then after that, it's like I don't know who's getting fourth seed, but they're probably not making it through that first playoff seed or playoff match.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go on a little tangent, so to speak, about our game versus Glacier Rising.
Okay.
Hang on, that's the last game. We can save it.
Oh.
All right, we'll save it. All right then.
You
So
can say
I'm
that.
actually gonna go to my second comment then, and say,
Backup plan.
Go Next actually surprised the hell out of me this week. They were at, what was it, like 3-4 or 3-5?
I think they were a
one of the
little.
two.
Yeah, they were like lower and lower, but now they're getting.
Christ was 4-4.
Oh, they were 4-4. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They. Hold on, let me get my facts straight before I actually say who they beat. But when I saw their match results against,
I can
We played Glacier Rising this week as well.
yeah,
they did
they
lose.
beat New Tragedy, and I really thought New Tragedy was actually a decent team. Like, we faced them, they kind of gave us a run for our money in the first 10 minutes. So they did a good job of tracking Chong, our jungler,
Was
and
that the
making
6
sure.
Chong steals?
Huh?
No,
Was it
that
the-
was
No,
like
no.
that was
Okay.
SV Academy.
Yeah. And then like we were waiting for our game, and then I just see a match result, and I just see them like totally stomping New Tragedy. I was like, oh wow, okay, because I didn't really take Go Next as a very competitive team. I get it, they had a couple wins under the belt, and they seemed decent, but when I saw how convincingly they beat New Tragedy, I really started thinking of them as like a mediocre team that could take that 4th spot. So that was kind of my standout game, so to speak, of this week from Big Clips in my eyes.
Hmm. Yeah, I think honestly the team that I was looking for forward to the last few weeks was Striking Vipers Academy, because like they have solid, like I think the jungler's really solid, like, but I'm finding out like in these past few weeks that like he's kind of hit or miss, unfortunately. I think SV Academy had shots for 4th, but I don't think they can do it anymore.
No.
Yeah, Go Next Lit Club look like the two contenders, I guess, for 4th,
Mhm.
and it's really a throw up. I don't think us top 3 teams, Glacial, Iceborne, and Solar, have any issues dealing with whoever gets 4th, if we even meet them in playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on who people have to play left too, right? Like, I think both those teams have to play. Did we play Go Next yet?
Yep. We beat
Uh,
them.
Do you
I
already
think
play
we
in the second round robin?
we have to play them one more time, I think.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
we play them
both of
next week,
those- we
actually.
have both of those teams left because we haven't played Lit Club the second. Excuse me, we haven't played Lit Club the second time either. So,
Yeah.
I mean, both of them having similar schedules will be interesting, and I wonder if they play each other, because that'll probably be the game that determines whether or not one of these teams ends up. Probably who ends up 4th and 5th is probably gonna be the matchup head to head between them.
Yeah.
If I had to guess.
Mm.
But yeah, I think our division definitive top 3, 4th seed is up for grabs. But if we're like ranking the overall teams in the league, I think our 4th seed is probably the weakest of the 3 divisions. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
I think I like
Without a
Interstellar
doubt.
better than them, and Hyper Elite as well.
And then
Um,
obviously Lunar is stacked, like Copenhagen, EQ Storm, Team Cosmic, and then
Lunar is pretty big.
possibly Pawn, because Aqua Phoenix is still
Pawn,
in the run,
APS, Merc Squirt,
and Merc Squirt. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I think
I
you're
don't
right.
see how our 4C, whether it's Lit or Go Next, can beat like Pawn, Aqua, or Merc, depending on who make it, much less,
Hyper Elite or
Interstellar.
yeah,
No,
it's
Um,
so different. Like their drafts too. Their drafts aren't. I don't know, when I saw this draft in their last game, which was against Glacial Eagles, right? It I don't know. It just sucked. I did not like it. Like Ash, Lulu, Vagar, and then especially a Malphite top. Like Malphite top,
It's
you don't.
good when it's good, and it's not when it's not.
Not.
Like,
But from what
Yeah.
I've seen in competitive right now, like even in the
You-
academy side, it just doesn't hold victories. Like
you play it
none.
into Wukong, you play it for like wombo combo stuff, but like you can't just like blind pick the Malphite, and you don't really want it. It's not a great answer into Volibear, in my opinion.
No,
Like-
because Volibear just W's and you lose
It
half
presses
your health.
E. It goes
Did they have?
hot.
Did they also have a new support that week too? They didn't have
Shotario?
tacos, tuna tacos. They had like Shotaro.
Yeah, they choose
Shotaro.
Shotaro this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
think the bot lane for Go Next is I would argue their weakest point, personally, because I think that was the game Villain you and me went like Varus Karma and just completely dumpstered them level 1 or something like that.
Yep, it was level 1. I remember that.
It was
very
like
vividly.
yeah, like
We've had
I
a lot
don't
of these
think
games where people just don't respect us level 1, and we just like
there's yeah, I think especially with Go Next, like their bot lane needs to understand what is strong and what is weak in terms of like lane matchups. It gets Ezreal Thresh into Ashe Lulu, you just wait for 6 before you
Yep.
can do anything. And like you have Nidalee and Olaf, like Nidalee's a high tempo jungler. You want the Olaf like finding ways to get to her without getting hit by stuff. Like it doesn't make sense why Nidalee got off so many successful ganks as Nidalee when you know exactly
why
what
3-ban
he's gonna
top
do.
when you like if you're gonna burn 3 bans on top, why is Volibear open and why is the Nidalee 1-trick open? You know,
Yeah, that's
Like,
like the most messed
Block
up
has gotten
part.
Corki like every game he plays. Like, does any other team in this division play Corki, or are we just gonna let Locke play it every game?
Was
I know we
the
ended up
was the
banning it,
Nidalee
but-
pick even researched on? You know, like it has to
The
be.
guy's name is Nidalee. Like he's gotta
Like-
have at least like 600
Yeah.
games. Like
I want to check real quick. I've never actually checked myself, only because
It's a
I'm
lot.
not. It's a lot of games he's played.
I think 500.
Yeah, I think it's
This season?
579 or something like that. He's played this season of Nidalee.
Then
not
it's
last
so
season.
weird to not see a Nidalee ban. Like that's way too close to comfort.
Yeah.
Yeah, 492,
33% of his team damaged that
416.
game too.
266, 239.
500
Wow.
games in Nidalee out of his 700 games this season. You think that's like kind of like ban number 1?
This
Like,
guy has to have the most points.
For aspiring coaches and drafters out there in platinum and gold leagues, your first ban isn't meta. Your first ban is
The one tricks.
Always ban the one trick.
Always ban the one
Like
tricks.
always, there's exceptions, right? Like if it's like a Caitlyn one trick, you're kind of like But like when you see like Nidalees, when you see Katarinas, when you see
Kane,
Talons, like
Kha'Zix.
I think Kane, Kha'Zix now, yeah. Like when you see these like
Kassadin.
super hard one tricks of like carries, like just ban it.
Just
You
ruin
get
their
3 of
days.
them. Listen, I know your top laner doesn't want to play against Set for the 78th time, but too bad. You're gonna pick Malphite anyways. You can deal with it into Set. It's a better matchup than Volibear. Fun fact.
It is actually, yes.
But I mean, you ban the one tricks. You look at what people are playing. Like I obviously we don't have the full information in the draft, but like I don't see how a team gets Volibear first of all. You get your one trick jungler. You get Corki, who's one of the strongest mid lane picks, who Locke's been playing every game. And then you get Ezreal and Thresh as well in the bot lane. Like, what happened in this draft? I want to know the pro draft because I don't see how you get 5 of your team's best champions just like that with like no bans thrown your way. Like, it's very peculiar to me. It's
I'm
very weird.
assuming they really prioritized the Ashe and the Olaf, and then hoping it would work, and it just didn't end up working for Go Next.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I mean, that's just me. Like, I wasn't here this week, so I can't say anything about our draft against Glacier Rising. But I'm sure these two will have some insight for you.
Oh yeah, we have.
What
I have
went
a
on
lot
there.
of stuff regarding that game.
Because I had
Can I say it now?
Yes.
Don't make excuses
we'll
for
we'll
it.
work our way through.
I'm not making excuses.
But-
I'm gonna state.
I want to hear everything.
First off, we can talk about the second game, which was my boy Killjoy and Kiri just dumpstering.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
That first
Kicking
game
it,
with
it was no-
Killjoy. That was.
Oh,
that was.
dude, that draft was just first picking Morgana,
Mwah.
picking Draven next. We were drafting against them, and obviously like no flame against them at all. But we're literally going like, what are they doing? Like, are they for funning this or something? Because it was so easy to draft winning matchups into them, just completely take the game over from just laning phase. Like Draven Morgana is not a lane I'd be comfortable in as Morgana, as Draven.
Especially
Caitlyn
when
Karma
looking at
just
Karma
win.
Kate, yeah.
Yeah. It was that game I would throw like heavily into like them just not drafting well.
Kiri OP did.
And Kerry knows how to play winning matchups, which is good.
Yeah, like for other teams out there, like they may sleep on Kiri just because he's
Stop
was he,
banning
like,
his thresh.
plat 4 or whatever it is, 0p or some kind of low number. But like he's actually a really good support. I think he's probably the second best support behind Beyond Godly in at least in Eclipse.
What do you mean? Poblo's here.
What I'm playing, obviously.
Yeah, when and if he ever plays.
I know.
But like
No, I totally
the way
agree.
Kiri, what? Oh, what?
What? Huh? What?
Yeah. The way that like Kiri plays winning matchups, the way he plays weak side, the way he shot calls games, like he's just such an underrated player that I myself didn't know how good he was when he was on Villain's old team. And now that we picked him up and see how he plays and how he calls, like that guy is actually so insanely good. It's unreal.
Yeah, y'all really just went and poached the 2 shot callers from Pawn Sacrifice White, didn't you?
I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry, cannot
No
confirm
poaching. That's a meme for legal reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all really just went and took the 2 best players in that team, didn't you?
Better wording.
that. Anyway, yeah, we don't.
I played it before too.
But about
Yeah.
the game,
That game was kind of a smash from start to finish. Like,
Yeah,
Victor's view, like it looked like we were just outclassed. Like we outclassed them completely. Like
Starter got super ahead of the Rek'Sai early. Rek'Sai's an early game jungler. Like the Skarner didn't do any damage, but he prevented from Rek'Sai from doing any damage also. So it just completely threw it. They took scaling lanes and all their top and mid that lost both times. The Kled was able to roam bot. We 5-man bot that game at like 9 minutes.
and Connor just made mid miserable. Like he like for the first 10 minutes, I think every single ultimate was just him walking in mid and grabbing Orianna and saying, "And lane gone."
yeah.
Like,
You cannot play the game.
like he would just go in, hook the Orianna, and just chunk her out and be like, "Well, I guess I have to reset again," or she would just be dead. So
Yep.
Mhm.
I do also want to say that Chong, on his
Got
Skarner
them.
game specifically,
Yeah.
he
Time
invaded Rek'Sai level 2 at his blue buff.
oh my god, that's
And-
my...
And like from that point on, Rek'Sai, I think he got level 6 at 9.5 minutes or something like that. And as a Rek'Sai being an early game jungler, that's devastating.
bad.
Not only for you, but for your team, because you don't have the Rek'Sai pressure, you don't have the Rek'Sai execute, you don't have any early game jungle at that point.
I think
And
Draven was like 0-5 that game too, which is like Draven's a champion where like the game revolves around him. Either you camp
Yep.
him or he just gets camped for. So
Especially a team like Striking Vipers Academy where they heavily rely on their jungler to win their games. If he's behind, it's clear they don't know how to win the game.
yeah.
but he couldn't
Um,
even kill Karma though. Like that was
Oh my
that just
God,
showed
the
you he
power
was
play.
he was already really behind. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, that was funny to watch.
he made every single play on the book,
he
and
didn't get healed though, right?
no.
Nope.
Karma didn't get healed there.
No, definitely.
No.
That heal came from her mantra Soul Link.
It was Mantra W. She also eat herself and then Killjoy Summoner healed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the meme in the call was just apparently that
Kiri
did not think that
Kiri
Killjoy
didn't
healed him.
think Killjoy healed him, yeah. She's
I'm
like,
so
"No, your
strong."
W does not heal you that much.
No,
What are you
no, it
fucking-
doesn't. No, it doesn't. There's
It
no
do,
way.
but like it don't. But yeah, no. SBA
it wasn't
just
even
kinda-
close.
they got a rough draft, and then once we got ahead, that game just felt like it was over. I think they won in like 25 minutes or something. Like you guys kind of steamrolled them. I say you guys, but none of us played in the game. Like
Yeah. I mean, I
Okay.
did the draft. Me and Rainbows did draft or something.
Does that count for anything? Like,
24 minutes, yeah.
Always
had a nice
counts.
mixed drink and was watching, so like that counts, right?
Yeah.
no.
No. Okay.
Anyway.
No.
Third to fourth, right? With Literature Club and Iceborne, does this have to be really talked about that much?
Tall
I
Dog's
s-
okay. OP, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Tower Dog just, and he does this every game, right? This isn't just one game. Tower Dog did amazing. He does amazing like every single game.
And this is another point of like I like Lit Club pulling out unique picks to try something against Iceborne Winter Q, but I feel like you're trying to do too many like niche things. So
Yeah.
you draft Pantheon Nunu mid. Okay, that's cool. That's neat. You know, you got the Dark Harvest, Nunu. You got a lot of pressure in Pantheon bot. This is nice. It's not. You can dive because you have like Tristana Pantheon. This is a great idea. And then you lane swap the Pantheon away, so you don't have the lane pressure you would in a 2v2.
They did
Like-
that. They did that because they wanted to play the Teemo stand still. Stay in the bush, top side.
Apparently.
Jeez. Oh,
But like,
that was
I mean-
that was fun.
I feel like their top laner is better on low econ. I felt like like they did a good job of diving him, but they died 1 for 1. And then on the bot side, like Iceborne Winter Q's botched their dive and like gave a free kill to the set. But like I feel like you don't hate that set matchup in top lane. And I think if you're running Pantheon, you're running it to win the 2v2 and get ahead early. You're not running it to lane swap and neutralize lanes. And I think if Winter Q was at all like reading the situation right, if they slow push that wave in, they get so much more advantage out of it because that the bot lane turret is weaker, right? That's the reason why lane swaps don't exist anymore, is because bot turrets are significantly weaker than top turrets.
Yeah.
And so if you leave a 2v1 like that, you should be able to just break that turret like in a couple of stacked waves, or at least get massive plate advantages. But I mean, in the end, it was Tal'Dog and Graves. He farmed 1 million camps and had like 100 CS at 10 minutes, and then just kind of one shot everybody. So
It wasn't even him like farming though. It was like him making sure that his opponent doesn't have anything to farm too. So and that's what's so unique about him is like he recognizes matchups, and even against Chong when he plays like a Mumu, Skarner, Sejuani, Set, Volibear, whatever you want to have Chong play on. Tal'Dog is so good at just like making sure the enemy jungler doesn't get to play the game. When he goes to farm, doesn't have any camps to farm, and while he's doing all that, he's making sure that he ganks a lane that is possibly losing or at least even. And yeah, it's just he's
good.
I can't even say the word, but like he's so good. I don't even know what to say about him.
But just for clarity, for those who don't know, Chong is Codnim. His previous IGN was Chong, in case people didn't know.
Yeah.
Our jungler, Cod Nim.
Cod Nim. Yeah.
We never call him that. We just call him Chong.
Yeah. I call him Cod Nim every now and then because
sometimes. Well, you're newer. That's probably why.
Same basis with him yet, you know.
Yeah.
People call me Philin. You know, it's
Filling in glasses.
Yeah, I think my name's wrong. Isn't it Phil in glasses? Is my Victor mediocre?
Yeah. What were we talking about then?
Oh,
so can I go on my tangent now?
Yeah.
Yes, because I don't think there was too much to talk about in Literature Club.
Yeah.
And
there was one cool play where Nunu rolled a snowball and one shot the Ashe, and it was pretty funny. That's about it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was. Yeah.
That was pretty ADC in 2020 of Ashe. But
that's what I wanted to bring up. The Alistar, I think they were just scared of the Alistar matchup, but like I feel like Alistar's so gankable. Like, yes, you have Pantheon Triss, which Alistar completely nullifies, but then just bring your jungler down, and then it might work out better for you guys. But
if Ellie ever combos Pantheon, you throw up your E, and then you just jump on the ADC, like, or jump on the Alistar on the way out, like when.
Yeah, I think they were just scared.
I think you go for the 2v2, but I think they were just worried about the matchup and ended up basically just saying, "Hey, Tal'Dog, do you want to free farm for 15 minutes? Here you go."
So moving on to the next game, why did Jadway not dodge the Nidalee Spears level 1?
All right, here
wondering
what in the game at level 1.
No, hold on. All right, here we go.
What's going on here?
Okay.
All right, so first off,
Jadway, right?
Jadway's top lane, yeah.
That's tough.
So we got into game lobby 20 minutes beforehand, and we were prepping. We were talking about draft. We were talking about matchups. We were getting all this information. We were like, all right, this is our plan. This is what we're gonna do. And then the only person from their team that was in draft or in game lobby 5 minutes prior to the game was their top laner, I think it was.
So you didn't even know Nidalee was gonna play.
No idea.
Yeah, it was their top laner, Faulted, and he's like, "Yo, my team's not going to be here, but we were ready for draft." And we're like, "Okay." So we, based off what we saw from last game, we're like, "All right, Locke's going to be playing. We're going to be banning away Corki, and we're going to give Manatsu, our mid laner, a favorable matchup so that he can survive the lane and make sure Chong has the agency in the jungle." So we did that, and then literally 2 minutes before the game starts, their whole team comes in, and then we see the Nidalee one-trick playing. And when we saw Nidalee picked up in draft, we were like, that has to be jungle because Locke's playing. So we kind of just like didn't care about it. And then we literally, as the game was starting, we were like, oh wait, that's Nidalee mid. And so our whole draft plan from them, for us not knowing who's playing, was thrown out thrown out the room because they didn't tell us that not Locke was playing. And so that kind of just messed up everything. And so when Nidalee finally came through, we were like, okay, so how do we play around this? And we were like, Manatsu, you should be able to have lane prio because you're able to push Nidalee in because your wave clear isn't that good.
Yeah.
And then
that level 1 play.
The next thing we know is like they invade through red buff. They go behind red through Krugs, and Jadway I don't think he was sleeping. He was obviously paying attention because I could hear, or at least what they were saying is that they could hear him talking and everything. And they invade from behind us, and then Jod, like he flashed over the wall and he got hit by one Nidalee Q, and then went from behind his turret where Nidalee Q shouldn't be able to hit, and started recalling. And they said he was like, "Oh, this is fucking
Misjudged the range.
yeah, this is like really upsetting." And then it was like 0.2 seconds before his recall was finished, the other Nidalee Q hit him and killed
Yep.
him, and he was actually fuming about that. And so then to go back a little bit, there was a miscommunication in draft on all of our parts where we picked the Sejuani because we wanted to pick a melee top laner,
Yeah.
and when they saw they locked in Jace, we noticed that Yorick, which is Jodway's main champion, was left open, and historically Yorick does beat Jace, especially if you land the E. And we were
However-
like, well, we can pick Yorick, we can pick Camille, we can even pick maybe a Kled here. And then Jodway was like, well, Quinn isn't that bad if I get ahead. And then the next thing that we heard was our jungler Chong. He said not Quinn. But because of Discord's shitty quality and kind of cutting out here and there, all we heard was Quinn. And so with 1 second left in, we locked in Quinn. And then the next thing we hear is just Chong fuming. He's like, I specifically told you guys not to pick Quinn.
I feel like this sounds
No,
so amazing. To
the
listen
other
to
half
from,
of
like,
Quinn.
I
Yeah.
watched this draft and I was just like question mark picking the Quinn pick so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I was the one doing like the actual click-ins, and like there was Discord issues,
It's
and like
okay.
all I hear is just
It's
like 4
alright.
times my mic, Quinn. And I'm like, oh yeah, sure. I didn't want Quinn, but I was like,
And-
my top wants to beat the Jace. The only idea that we had that was like top lane needs to win that matchup to win the game, basically. Like we don't want to head Jace; you'll just take over the early game. So like just pick something that wins. And so like I didn't hear anything, and then I just hear Quinn, and I'm like, all right, sure.
yeah.
Yeah,
Not
and-
pick.
Yeah, and then it
Like
turns out
Rising?
It was the last pick,
but-
dude. No.
I'll
And
give
we
credit to Glacier Rising in that game though. Like they set up a pretty good comp. Like it was a really good poke comp. Like it's similar to like what you see with like Ezreal Zoe, where like you just have like these. If we are ahead, which is what our champs are designed to do, good luck defending a siege against this team, or like
Yep.
trying to set up around an objective. And they played it out pretty well. I think credit to my guys. Like Solar Phoenix did a good job of adapting to like Jodway getting absolutely,
Fucked.
set up on like put up the tent, start a campfire, get some s'mores out. Like it's a camp up there, but like he got really a rough time up there, and it's tough when you're playing those carries and you get behind, because when you're behind on a champion that's designed to snowball, it just becomes very, very hard to ever get back in the game. He
Yep.
has no TP. He was running, double combat sums because it's what Quinn can do. And it was a rough lane, and it's a rough game. But I think we did a good job of stalling it out and making it somewhat interesting. Obviously, inevitably, we did end up losing. But I think that if we don't have those drafting issues and we know like kind of who's playing, it helps a lot more. But
Yeah,
I blame
that's-
whoever readied up on pro draft for, like I said every time, wait for the team to be in the lobby so you know who
okay.
you're drafting against.
Not,
Yeah,
not,
so
not even
I don't care if they're
that.
ready. Have them in the lobby. That's
not-
on
No,
them.
no,
Not even
So-
that, like, this is why I like about the client draft a lot more than pro draft, is that even on a production set,
Yeah.
pro draft has 0 names on it. It's a bit more work to even put names on it, right?
Mhm.
But at the same time, it also helps out even the opposing teams, because I know it's a little bit for me, I feel like it's a bit desperate because it has all champions, so you're able to draft all champions, but not in the means of desperate as in like,
I understand why people like to use it and why it's needed, but I just
Yeah.
think it can
But-
cause more problems.
But the thing is that teams are just not obligated to really give you any real
Yeah.
information. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So even if you're asking and you're like, please, for integrity, right? Give me all the names that are drafting. They could just literally just sit there and give you no answer,
which is why, like,
which gives
again, like-
disadvantages.
which is why, like, you set rules of like being in the champs like lobby by X time. Like, especially when you're on a stream game, like I'm sure they had like a deadline, and like I'm not gonna blame them. I think it's on us for starting the pro draft and not waiting for all the information. But I mean, it's a mistake we
Yeah.
won't make in the future, and I'm not worried about us
Si-
because we're not gonna lose another game.
Since
So
now I'm hearing that, it's a little bit concerned even to me, because all I want is a little bit of that fairness, at least in the draft. Like, because that's super important. Because then otherwise we see Nidalee with Nidalee, right? It's just,
Yeah.
and then
That's
Or
not
like
even
Dylan with
that,
Ezreal or something crazy,
not
yeah.
even that. When we don't know the inner information, just what BigBlackRainbows just told us right now. Now I understand that. Oh, okay, so these guys just didn't mess up. It was just a whole entire mix-up. But everyone else
communication
that we're
issues.
watching were like, are these guys blind? Are these guys
What
like?
is draft?
It's
Like,
and what is this Quinn? And it's all like, you know, we don't know the
From-
whole story, but what can they do with what they have right now, right?
Yep.
And then it just
Yeah.
became like then later on in the game it's just like, okay,
it looked
well,
like a really bad blunder from us just from minute one.
yeah, there's
So-
really nothing you guys could do. The Nidalee really scored high, and
That level 1 invade was just wonky because
Yeah.
there was
So-
the
no proper
spear
5 pointer
hits
warning.
too, and
So a quick side note about
Yes.
that. They also should have lost 2 bans. Their 2 second phase bans, but that didn't happen either. So I was kind of salty about
wait,
that.
why not? What do you mean? Because
they weren't
of
they weren't in lobby 15 minutes prior, and they didn't get in lobby.
no.
It's
They-
in the rulebook, but
No. It's let me see. It's one ban phase 2 if they are not ready on time ready, and then it's 2 bans phase 2 if it's like 5 minutes in
Yeah.
from the not ready.
I mean,
yeah.
but, like, bans aside, like, I didn't really care about like them losing bans or whatever. But like, it would have been just nice to know what their lineup was, because I always message people what our lineup is in DMs. But like, I can understand as like a team player, I think if Falted's their captain, like if you have no idea who's playing on your team, like I get that, but I don't
Yeah,
think it's
That's the other thing,
preferable.
right? Like if they can't give you an answer, it's 2 things, right? They are looking to seek an advantage, or they also don't know themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we really can't tell if they're doing it on purpose or not on purpose. And
exactly.
yeah,
Which is why I don't want to flame Glacial
Are-
Rising.
are you
Yeah, just like-
able?
Are nice.
I mean, I can see everything on Discord, but are you able to see other people in their channels?
No.
Just
No.
no?
You can't see other voice
Oh,
chats.
dang.
Like
Yeah.
we only
So
see
we were
Discord,
literally
right?
blind going
Voice
into the
chat.
draft, so to speak. And I want to clarify, like, I'm not trying to flame either. I was just stating like what happened so that other viewers, especially Twitch chat viewers, can know like what happened in our draft.
It's not just us inting draft all the time.
Yeah. Not all the time. A couple times. Not all the
It's not my fault. I wasn't there.
time. Yeah.
Because I would have been shouting, no, we're not starting till they're in the game lobby because they have too many subs. I say that every time.
But other than that, like that's all I really wanted to add. Like there was a big blooper on our end. Like they're realistically, if we had our perfect draft and they had their perfect draft and everything went smoothly, I definitely think we would win that game, because I feel like we are a much more cohesive, synergized team because we've been playing for so long. But because of that one little blooper on that radar, we kind of unfortunately did lose. But yeah,
I think it also helps if you just have a certain ADC who wears corrective lenses.
you talking about Killjoy?
Yeah, Killjoy did.
Yeah.
Definitely doesn't play Ezreal though. Unlucky.
You know, his Sivir was kind of decent. That's all I'm saying.
No, like, yeah, we won't make that mistake again. It was just unfortunate.
It's okay. We won't lose for the rest of the split, and we'll clinch that second seed, and I'll only have 1 loss on my record.
All
Feel
right.
good.
So let's end it all with a conclusion here. Anyone have anything to lastly say before we end the podcast here?
I did forget to shout out Interstellar's jungler, Kirito.
Ooh.
Very, very solid performance from him. Did I say that right?
The
Like
character,
Kirito something.
yeah, it's Kirito
Kirito from
from
Swords.
yeah.
From Interstellar? Yeah.
Sword Art Online.
He needs better solo laners, because like Mans is too good to be on a team that like mid tier, my opinion.
Yep.
But other conclusions, thanks for having us on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks.
Appreciate it.
Thanks
It
for
was really
being
fun.
here, guys. It takes a lot more to be here than it is for me to be here, because I definitely want to be here, but yeah. It's actually harder to try to get a whole group. That's why I did like
Mhm.
another different segment where it's just me, and it's easier to do it because it's just me. So I just gotta come up with something, do it, and then post it. But to you guys, much appreciated as well for joining in.
Thanks. Yeah, like sorry for us being like super like analytical. We're nerds, and we're not like.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys
not
are
like-
smart and amazing.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Double nursing
But yeah,
majors, baby.
me, Villain, Rainbows, and like all of us, we argue constantly about this game, like behind the scenes, about like what's good, what's not, what we should be doing, what we shouldn't be doing.
And
but like,
in the end, villain's right. Like, I mean, that's how it goes.
I'd argue I'm right.
I don't know about that. Hold on.
Well, listen, couldn't be me. Couldn't be me.
Could not be
Yeah,
you. I do
but-
want to add one more thing. Iceborne winners, if you ever listen to this, it'd be nice to see a competitive game, not you guys just stomping everyone. So that'd be nice.
Yeah, if you guys could like lose a game or two so we can get first, that'd be great.
Well, not just lose a game, but just like don't stomp a game. That'd be pretty
Yeah,
nice.
Just for
We guys
fun
just
of
not
the
play
game.
Towel Dog real quick, and we'll see.
Yeah.
Put someone else in.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. just
Just
curiosity,
saying.
man.
Try out new junglers every
It'd be
once
cute.
in a while.
Like,
It'll
what's your
be cute.
Insta?
Were those our final words from you guys?
Yeah, I think that's about it.
Yeah, just thanks for
Yeah.
having us. We appreciate it. Sorry, we're nerds.
To the
Yeah.
whole Solar Phoenix team, thank you all so much. I know I only got 3 of you, but I'm pretty sure every one of you is up for the content. Thank you guys so much to Poblo, to Villianinglasses. Welcome back, by the way. Hope your vacation was awesome.
Oh, it's great. dude.
At Vegas, no. Amsterdam, no.
Nah,
To the
just
city
up
of
north in,
Atlantis, no.
wonderful Michigan, dude.
All
Out by
right.
the lake on the boat, getting some wakeboarding.
To
Kicking back,
the
nice.
what do you call that triangle? Bermuda, right?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
No, just kidding. And
Every day in bot lane with these two supports still is like a wonderful vacation for me. So
We're gonna start.
Yeah, he doesn't have to do anything. So
to the coach of the team, I don't think I've ever seen you play as a
You don't
sub,
want to.
emergency
yeah,
sub.
you don't want to see
No?
him play. Trust me.
No.
Killjoy. Imagine worse.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Imagine Killjoy, but not getting any kills.
Imagine Killjoy but silver.
to Big Black Rainbows, all you guys, make sure you follow Villianinglasses. I can't say that. The last name is very interesting, actually. How do you say that?
Your Twitter at Villain.
Mhm.
How do you pronounce it?
How do I pronounce what? My last name?
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Oh, okay.
Follow
He
my
probably
Twitter.
can't
Follow my
pronounce
Twitch.
himself.
Fancy.
I do speed runs. It's great.
Speedruns, really? What game?
Kingdom Hearts mostly.
No way.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at them.
Man, I used to watch a lot of
Yeah,
that
go
GDQ. I wonder if they did one, actually. They did it
They
online?
they do have one coming up online for Games That Click.
Yeah, I don't think they've done it yet.
It's been delayed.
No,
Yeah, does it?
I think they
You know, I've
did,
gone a couple times. It's fun.
Oh, did they?
but
They've
Oh,
done
I
a lot of
missed
hot
it.
practice. They haven't done the actual.
on their actual YouTube content, yeah. It's just a little bit different though because there's like no cam and no
Yeah, it's
audience.
really wonky nowadays.
and- Yeah,
Yeah, it
it,
starts actually in a couple weeks. It starts up for Summer Games Done Quick because you got postponed and everything.
yeah, and they have
Okay.
the runners actually like in the Twitch channel as they're doing this, and they can actually like read off the Twitch channel. Like it's pretty,
Mhm.
it's new, it's innovative, but I don't know. I like the crowd and I really, oh man, but they gotta really, everyone's gotta be safe, right, with the COVID
Mhm.
stuff.
Wear your
So-
masks, please. For us
Please.
Western majors.
Please.
Stop being a
I
degen.
got my mask here. I got my my KN95, something like that.
Yep, Good, good.
100
Good
of
man.
those. 100. I got 10 on me. I don't know where it's at, but I got 10 on me somewhere. But I do
Yeah.
wear this one. It's pretty cool, you know.
Yeah.
It's
please,
all-
please
it's-
wear your masks. We don't want to go into another lockdown like we are right now. It also makes a lot more work for like people who are trying to get into nursing like me and Villain. Please wear your masks.
Right,
I
yeah,
can't-
right now I'm in Texas and I live here all my life.
sorry.
And yeah, it's getting a lot worse. Like
Sorry.
our morgues are full right now and our
Yikes.
hospitals are full. Yeah.
Yeah.
It really like I can't even like it's so weird. I don't know.
Yeah, the place that I'm on for the Army, Fort Bragg. I can't give too much information because of military contracts and stuff. But
no problem. I mean, no problem.
we've had a skyrocket of cases. It's not even funny.
Yeah, it's not a joke too much there. But anyways, let's continue on. Thank you all so much to Solar Phoenix, you 3 best as well, along with everyone else. You guys are definitely locked in for playoffs. So we
Hopefully.
want to see how that goes. No more best of ones. This time best of fives. Everyone gets to play to adapt and to get better and to also just win it harder than ever before. To everyone else out there as well, to the ones that have helped me out previously in our podcast, to our sponsors, Haha Funny Man, Rogue Energy, Jasper George, to Rogue Energy. Wait, did I say Rogue? Yeah, I said Rogue Energy, PRL Rogue. Don't forget to use that code. To Phoenix Rising League. You know, we got merchandise, jerseys, everything like that. I want to see lovely jerseys on teams out there too. Don't know if you guys have some.
We'll get
Now-
some, don't worry.
I don't have anything to plug outside of my stream, so.
Yeah, don't forget to subscribe, follow us. Twitter descriptions down low. You know, click on those links. There's the Patreon, there's the website, and there's our Twitch. Come and watch us. Solar Phoenix play every Wednesday nights. And right now we are still in our academy. So an hour and 40 minutes. I don't think I'll be able to upload this as well in time, but later on after tonight, I will.
Hopefully.
So be ready for that.
Poblo did the nene.
You guys on the rift?
Yeah. See you guys on the rift. Thank you so much.